Dating today is a mess. No one knows what they want, everyone's scared of commitment, and half the people you meet just want an ego boost. But believe it or not, most of the drama, heartbreak, and wasted time can be avoided if you just know a few key things before you start dating. Hello, fellow warriors. Welcome back to the Goddess of War. In today's video, we're discussing 5 things every woman needs to know before dating. Because dating isn't just about finding someone who's great. It's about finding someone who's great for you. Whether you're new to dating, jumping back in after a breakup, or even in a relationship and wondering if you missed something important, this video is for you. Because knowing this information beforehand can save you from toxic men, mind games, and straight-up BS. So let's get into it. The first tip I want to share with you is probably the most obvious, but also the most overlooked. So tip number 1 is that different men have different tastes. Not all men want the same things in a woman. And just because someone isn't into you doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. These days, it's common to hear people say that all men are looking for the sweet, kind, girl next door type. And while I do think that most men have similar preferences and are attracted to what is stereotypically considered desirable, the truth is, everyone has their own unique taste. Some men prefer shorter women, some like taller women, some are drawn to wild, unpredictable personalities, while others want someone more grounded. And that's okay. The key is to stop taking rejection personally and understand that you don't need to be every man's type. Focus on finding someone who wants exactly what you are offering. The second tip is the most important one, and yet most women keep making this mistake over and over again because they keep rushing. So tip number 2 is to take your time with a man. One of the worst things you can do is rush into something before you actually know who you're dealing with. Just because a man says all the right things in the beginning doesn't mean he's the right one for you. Talk is cheap. Consistency is what really matters. A man can fake being perfect for a few weeks, maybe even months, but give it time, and the truth always comes out. Taking your time forces a man to show you who he really is. And trust me, if he's hiding something, the mask will eventually drop. Maybe 1% of scammers and actors can keep up their act for a ridiculously long time. But most predators want easy victims. They want that quick win. So the simple fact that you are taking your time will pull away so many losers. If he's your soulmate and you knew it the second you saw him, guess what? He won't mind waiting. So it's a win-win for you either way. But after taking your time, there's one thing most women neglect, when in reality it should be the first thing you focus on. And that's having your own life. When you have your own passions, hobbies, and balanced lifestyle, you become more enjoyable to be around. You're not seeking constant validation or expecting others to fill your emotional gaps. A woman who's fulfilled on her own won't get bored or expect a man to be her sole source of entertainment. You'll have your own interesting stories to add in a conversation. You won't obsess over every little thing, and most importantly, you won't lose yourself in a relationship. You'll bring your best self, not just to the relationship, but to everything you do. Now, I would never suggest that anyone doesn't have a life, but if you want a video on the full details on how to create this well-rounded life that will improve all of your relationships, just put "I'm interested" in the comments down below, and I can probably make that next. All right, let's move on to the next tip, one that so many women ignore until they learn the hard way. Love and sex are not the same thing. Just because a man wants you sexually doesn't mean he sees you seriously or wants a relationship with you. Learning to distinguish between the two is crucial because in today's world, especially with the rise of social media and dating apps, there's a false illusion that we all have endless romantic options. The likes, DMs, and flirty messages can make you feel like you're highly desired. But the truth is that just because someone wants to sleep with you doesn't mean they want to commit to you. A man can be intensely attracted to you, pursue you with passion, and make you feel special in the moment. But that doesn't mean he's emotionally invested or planning to build anything serious. He might just be looking for a good time, nothing more. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, as long as you're on the same page. The problem starts when you start convincing yourself that he'll change, or that if you spend enough time together, he'll develop deeper feelings. That's where a lot of women set themselves up for disappointment. So how do you know if a man truly wants you and not just your body? I've mentioned in a previous video that most men will straight up tell you their intentions if you're willing to listen. If a guy says, "I'm not looking for anything serious," or "I just want to have fun," believe him. Don't fall into the trap of thinking, "Oh, he just hasn't met the right woman yet," or Maybe he'll change his mind once he gets to know me. No, when a man says this, he's being honest. He's giving you all the information you need, and it's up to you to accept it and move accordingly. But you have to keep in mind that not all men will be this direct. Some won't tell you they're not serious and might even pretend they are until they get you into bed. But listen, if you give it time, as we said before, their actions will eventually reveal the truth. So in this case, pay attention to how he treats you outside of the bedroom. Does he genuinely get to know the real you? Does he show consistent interest in your life, your thoughts, and your dreams? Does he integrate you into his world, or does he only show up when it's convenient for him? If the answer to most of those questions is no, then stop lying to yourself. If a man isn't trying to know the real you, he doesn't see a future with you. The next tip I'm about to share is one of the biggest misconceptions about dating. That tip is to not fall for the just be yourself trap. Has a friend ever told you, just be yourself and everything will work out? Have you ever followed that advice only to end up wondering, if I'm being myself, then why isn't it working? Do you feel like no matter what you do, the men you're interested in don't see you the way you want them to? If so, you've probably fallen into one of the most dangerous dating traps, the just be yourself myth. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should pretend to be someone you're not. What I'm saying is that the way most people interpret just be yourself is completely wrong. When people say it, what they don't tell you is that if yourself means being insecure, that's going to show. If yourself means waiting for men to notice you instead of actively presenting your best qualities, you might stay invisible. If yourself means expecting love to just happen without putting in any effort to grow, you might end up settling for less than you deserve. The harsh truth is that dating is a skill, attraction is a skill, communication is a skill. Imagine telling someone who wants to become a doctor, just be yourself and you'll figure it out. Sounds ridiculous, right? Because we all know that success in any area of life requires learning, adapting, and improving. So instead of blindly being yourself, what you should actually do is become and present the best version of yourself. Because, as we've said in other videos, you can't expect to pull a 10 if you're showing up as a 4. No disrespect here. It's just reality. And that's where the real work begins. The first thing you need to do is to work on your presence and the confidence you exude. I'm not going to expand on this too much because we've already covered it in previous videos. The second thing you need to do is understand what men actually want. And no, this doesn't mean changing who you are to fit a man's expectations. It means being socially aware, understanding what creates a strong connection and what kills attraction. An attraction killer, for example, is talking too much about your ex. It's one thing to casually mention a past relationship in context, but if you keep bringing up your ex, it tells him that you're still carrying unresolved baggage. But that's just one example. There are so many mistakes that women can make in dating, and each one can sabotage attraction without them even realizing it. Since I don't want to make this video an hour long, I'll be breaking them down in an upcoming video that I'm currently working on. So if you don't want to miss it, make sure to subscribe. Now it's time for you, warriors, to put this skill into practice and start making a real change. As always, I'll be watching from afar and I'll be proud of you. It's time to unleash your inner confident goddess. See you in the next video, warrior.